Hello and welcome to your yoga practice. Today is a bit of a posture clinic. We'll be focusing on how your arm works and how that works in downward dog and plank. This will be a little bit of a challenging practice and will still be an entire practice. So from warm up all the way through cool down and Savasana. For your practice today, it would be useful if you had some kind of strap. Doesn't need to be a yoga strap. It could be a long towel or perhaps a belt or something like that. Something that's maybe at least 4 feet long is what we're looking for. And also something that you could balance on your wrist that could fall to the floor. So something not terribly valuable, like my wallet, nothing in it. So find those two props for yourself and get on your mat and let's get started. As you come to your mat, come to a seat. I like to sit up on a bolster that's quite comfortable way to get my hips slightly elevated and my knees a bit lower. And settle in. Take a nice big inhale. And a long exhale. Close your eyes. And simply arrive here onto your mat, into your body, the heaviness of your body, and the gentle and slow rhythm of your own breathing. All we're doing here is allowing ourselves to come to presence, to come to a sense of calmness, dissipating any obvious tensions that might be arising in your body, your mind, your heart, and endeavoring to soften and land right here into your practice. Feel that simple rise and fall of your breath and connecting with an inner sense of what it is you need from your practice today. So practicing in a way that earnestly and honestly supports where you're at today. We'll take a single shared breath to mark the start of our practice. Take a nice big full inhale. And a long exhale to sigh. And welcome once again, my friends, to your yoga practice. So great to have you here today. As you open up your eyes, let's just take a big inhale, reach your arms up overhead, take a bit of a stretch this way and that. Nothing particular, just releasing any tensions that you're having in your body. And then bring your hands back down onto your knees. A gentle seated warm up here. Begin to roll your neck very slowly, keeping your shoulders down, not crunching too much into the back of your neck, just rolling nice big circles, feeling the perimeter of sensation through the sides of your neck. Go the other way. The idea here is simply to warm up each of the joints of our body, get the synovial fluids a little bit more viscous. Come back to the center, roll your shoulders up, back, down a few times. And go the other way a few times. Nice. And then send your arms out nice and wide. Turn your palms face up, trying to rotate your shoulders nice and strongly, and then roll your hands in. A few times, rolling open, rolling in. Keep your belly drawn in, your chest nice and proud. Oh yeah. And then bring your hands together, fingers interlaced, elbows just about together, and roll your wrists a few times one way, and a few times the other way. And then keeping them interlaced, press your hands away from you. Start bending your wrists as you press the hands away quite strongly. Keep them interlaced. And now in front of you, wave your arms. Notice that there seems to be a wave generated from one hand, one direction only. Generate it from the other direction. How do I do that? Nice. And then shake out your hands and go a little bit side to side. Just gentle twist of the spine. A few times, side to side. That's it. And then opening up the spine in other directions, left hand down, right hand up, just to reach up and over, not collapsing too much. Inhale up, exhale over, stretch through the left rib cage. Again, inhale up, exhale, reach. This is simply the warm up. Inhale up, exhale, reach and press. One more time. Oh yeah. And last one, here we go. Up and over. Nice. Hands on your knees. As you inhale, lift your heart, look up. And as you exhale, tuck your chin, round back. Stretching through your back. Inhale, send your heart forwards, stretching the front side of your body. Exhale, round back. Yeah, one more time. Inhale, forwards, up. And exhale, round it back. Nice. Come forwards, take away anything that you might be sitting on, get it out the way, and come on to your hands and your knees. So in hands and knees, we'll take a couple cat-cow breaths. So from here, as you're inhaling, lift your head, lift your tail. As you exhale, round, press the mat firmly, press your pelvis forwards. Nice. Inhale, lengthen through your heart. Exhale, round. And one more time, inhale, lengthening. And exhale, rounding. Nicely done. Come back to neutral. Walk your hands back a little bit. And then pressing with your hands, come to half forward fold. Nice bend in your knees. Give your head a bit of a shake. Relax your shoulders, your neck. Decompress your upper back. And then take an inhale to come halfway up. And then as you exhale, stand up. This is so we don't pass out. Exhale all the way. And then when we arrive at the top, nice big inhale, hands up. And as you exhale, wash your hands all the way down. Nice. Now, we're going to go through a little bit of a lesson about the arms and movements of the arms, and then we begin to apply that into downward dog and plank. So, the arms, when we're talking about your arms, we're talking about your scapula, your shoulder blades, your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, and your fingers. So I'm just going to go through the movements of all of those joints and then show how these joints work within a couple of poses. So scapula, that's your shoulder blades. I'm not sure if maybe from the side is best. First, keep your hands by the side of your body. Tone your abdomen, tone your upper chest. We're just trying to move your scapula. So up, that's elevation, and straight down, depression. So elevation, depression, elevation, depression. Come back to kind of a neutral position. Bring your shoulders forwards, that's protraction, and back, squeeze your scapula together, retraction. So protraction, retraction, protraction, retraction. Something else that your scapula do is they move on your back in a bit of an arc. So this is lateral and medial rotation. So your shoulder blades are rising up your back and back down, up your back and back down. Nice. So that's shoulder blades. And let's just move them through a controlled set of movements here, what's called a controlled articular rotation, just to get them warmed up a bit more. So shoulders up, back, down, sort of drawing a square, forwards, up, back, down. And just nice big circle, being nice and strong through the entire circle. And then go the other way, nice and strong, trying to isolate just your scapula in this movement. And then pause. Shoulder. Now, shoulders are your most flexible or mobile joints in your whole body, and they move in all kinds of different ways. So let's go through that. First, there's arms up. This is called flexion. And notice how far up and back they go. You could have your palms facing one another and then send your arms way back behind you, palms away from you. This is extension. So flexion, extension, reach far back, just moving your shoulders, not your body, up and back. And one more time, up and reach nice and far back. Nicely done. Come back to neutral. Bring your arms beside the side of your body, maybe in little fists here. So elbows bent, sort of robot arm style. There's adduction and abduction from the torso. So this is abduction. We're taking things away from our body. And this is adduction, squeezing it in. So this is another motion of the shoulders. Try to find this just in your shoulders. That's it. And then back to here, rotation of your shoulders. We're going through a lot of stuff. Just play along with me. Roll your hands away. Keep your elbows to the sides of the body and in. External rotation, internal rotation. External rotation, internal rotation. Nice. Bring your arms up nice and high and out wide. So we have two different planes that we can play around with our shoulders. This is also adduction, abduction in the horizontal plane. So you can try that a few times. And you're noticing where is it a little bit clunky, a little bit cranky. This is intended to be a bit of a diagnostic. So we know where we might be compensating when we go through these different movements. Horizontal, external, internal rotation. So robot arms, you can turn your palms down. Notice any crankiness. Palms up and back. A few times like this. I'm trying to explain a lot in 45 minutes. So a few times like that. And then last set of movements is called circumduction. You can rotate your entire shoulder in a circle. Forwards or backwards a few times. Just getting that shoulder nicely warmed up. I'll go backwards 3 times other side, trying to stabilize in your torso. Again, noticing any clunkiness or resistance that you might be experiencing. Now, to start to really warm up the joints of your shoulders if they aren't already, we'll start on the right-hand side and turn your thumb forwards. Rotate your thumb away from you, so we're externally rotating your shoulder here. Bring it across the body. This is adduction. Up. Reach it as far up and back, and I'll start to roll your thumb internally as you reach way back behind you and swoop that in to the sides of your body so your thumb's facing back, back a hand to the side of your hip. And again, reach back, unwind, so externally rotate the shoulder, bring it across the body, keep externally rotating and bringing it back in. A few times like that. Up, rotate, reach far back, nice and slow and controlled. So don't just rip through it. Try to find those places where we're compensating. Notice even me, I'm rotating my hip back a little bit. Try to keep your torso nice and stable as you do this, isolating the movement purely into your shoulder. Left side. Across the body, thumb rolls open, reach up and back. Try not to let the hip sway back, rotate it down, and in, back of your hand touches the side of your body. Back, rotate, up, keep rotating across and in. A few times like this. What we're trying to notice is, like I'm talking about compensation, noticing where other parts of the body want to move to make this happen. We're trying to minimize those compensations and work purely into the joint. Shake it out. Are you having fun yet? I am. Okay, elbows. Okay, what do the elbows do? Elbows flex and extend, flex and extend. And they also pronate and supinate. So they turn the wrist down. There's an interesting little thing you may have seen if you follow me on Instagram. I'll show you this. So I'm going to get you to turn your palm from face down to face up without rotating your wrist. So right palm down in front of you. Draw that hand in towards your belly. Draw it up. Send it back out. Draw it across your body again. Up, back out. Ta-da! Your palms face up. Well, why is that? Why is that happening? It's because your wrist actually doesn't move the hand. It's your elbow that moves the hand. So elbows bend, extend, and rotate here. So to strengthen our elbows, palm face down in a fist, right one in this case. Draw it in towards your body, squeeze into the bicep, keep squeezing, and start to roll your fist open as you extend your arm nice and long. Rotate your hand down, in, up, and out. One more time. Across, in, up, and out. Other side. Palm face down in a fist. Bend your arm in, up, out. Palm face up. Rotate down, in, up, out. One more time. In, up, and out. Good. Shake that off. We're nearly ready to do downward dog. We're getting there. Grab your small object, in my case, the wallet, and we'll be looking at, I'm going to put it in my pocket just for a moment, looking at the movements of the wrist. So your wrist flexes, goes down, extends, goes up. And from neutral, you can take your baby fingers away from you. This is called radial deviation. And your fingers go in, ulnar deviation. And lastly, there's a rotation of your wrist. So flex, extend, deviate one way, the other way, and rotate your wrists. Now to strengthen your wrists, controlled articular rotation, place the object on, I'm starting with my left hand, and let's see how far we can do. Take your wrist, bend it as much as you can, start rotating it inwards to that deviation, so palms flat, then fingers up, and then away from you, trying to deviate the other direction, and then down. So we're rotating a nice big circle, seeing how much our wrist does or does not move. Go one way, and then go the other way. I find this quite challenging myself. And then pause and try that on the other side. So start in neutral, fingers down, start to bring the palm more parallel, fingers in, up, bending at the wrist, out to the side, down again. Notice that your fingers kind of want to win the game, but we're trying to rotate just through the wrist one way. Ooh, this is hard. I'm going to drop that wallet. No worries, nothing in it. And then let it go. Get rid of the wallet, shake off your wrists. And let's go from there. We won't talk about the fingers, but the fingers basically flex, extend, and spread and squeeze together. And that old thumb, it comes in oppositional thumb. All right, we've done all that. So hopefully your whole arm from scapula, shoulder, elbow, wrist, fingers is feeling a little bit more spacious. From this place, let's take a nice big inhale and exhale, fold all the way forwards. Walk your hands forwards to get your knees down and come just to a seat to begin. So the first thing I want to talk about is the dreaded plank pose, so the top of the push-up. Maybe I'll explain that from this side. So push-up position for your arms is essentially the arms are out front here, and your shoulder blades, starting from there, are either neutral or slightly protracted. We don't want this retracted where you're sinking into your shoulders. So we're trying to find this position with the shoulders, and the wrists, we're trying to find flexion of that's extension of the wrists. So finding that kind of action. And it's not that easy, I find. But let's come forwards and come into tabletop position. I'm just trying to understand the movements of our scapula. I'll show it from this side. So again, from tabletop, we can drop our chest down and up, down, and up. We could also come slightly forwards, down, and up. So those shoulder rolls or scapular rolls, we could do one way and the other way. But the position we're trying to find is to press into the hand and spread or take the shoulders more forwards and scapula more away from you. So this is our initial setup for good old plank pose. And then from here, to get into plank pose, stay protracted, extend one leg nice and long, toes tucked, stay protracted, extend the other leg long, stay protracted. This is plank pose. So not here, not collapsing, but pressing away from you. Nice. Come back down onto your knees and give your shoulders a bit of a release. All right. So plank is basically, I like to do it in protracted scapula. You could do it neutral, but certainly not retracted. So finding the strength there. Downward dog. Downward dog. This is an oft-repeated pose, and one of the biggest problems I see in downward dog is a lot of compensating for things that aren't working in people's bodies. Let's talk about the positioning of the arms. So basically, bring your arms up. This is more or less the shape of down dog arms. We have, this is called flexion of your shoulders. We're reaching up. We've got a bit of elevation of your scapula as well. Now, if you can't flex your shoulders, there's no way we're going to get here, at least initially. We need to work on getting you from here to here by working on strengthening shoulder flexion. Strengthening shoulder flexion. So you have to adjust the pose if your body is not able to flex further. So just a point there. So we've got extension, or flexion, I should say, and elevation of the scapula. And your hands, the wrists are a little bit bent as well. So we've got to work that into the equation. So we're going to try and find that shape. First, come to kneeling and bring your hands slightly more forwards than tabletop. So slightly more forwards. And start to drop your head down and shift your bum back so that we're getting this sense of the scapula elevating. So your shoulders are moving up, your bum's moving back, and biceps more or less by the ears. Find that good sense of extension. Press your thumbs a little bit more down and rotate your hands away from you. So this is the basic shape. You can put your forehead down if you like, if that's available, bum more back. This will give you a bit more extension through the scapula. Nice. And then sit back up. One more point here that I'd like to mention is that your arm, your shoulder, is trying to externally rotate as well. So elevation of the scapula, external rotation of the shoulder. So try to add that in as well. Come back to that puppy dog shape. Let your shoulders or scapula elevate, forehead down just for support, and try to roll your biceps away from you as you press your thumbs down so arms are nice and strong. So from here, really press into the mat, tuck your toes, and then start to lift your knees off the mat, and then send your bum up. Keep your biceps between your ears, and here is that dreaded downward dog. Notice that this is mostly an extension from your hands to your bum. Your legs don't need to be straight or at any in any way. But find that extension, understand this shape.
That's nice. And then slowly come back down.
Give your shoulders a shake it off. So what do we learn? Plank, we find that protraction of the shoulders or the scapula. Downward dog, elevation of the scapula, external rotation of the shoulders, and really reaching through the hands. So let's play. Let's play with those now. So we'll do tabletop, puppy dog, down dog, tabletop, bear, down dog, tabletop, plank, down dog. Gets harder and harder. So just stop wherever it makes best sense for you. So here we are in tabletop. And we want to get from tabletop to downward dog. How do we do that? Hands nice and finger spread nicely. Shift your bum back, drop your head down between your arms. So we're getting into elevation of your scapula. Maybe your hands creep forwards. So there's puppy dog. And then from puppy dog, your knees pop up and your bum goes back. There's downward dog. Exit the same way you came in. Knees down, tabletop, hands in. There's that little flow. Let's make it a little bit more challenging. So rather than going through puppy dog, we'll go through bear pose. So here, hands down, tabletop, toes tucked. Pop your knees off the mat. This is called bear pose. And again, notice that protraction of your scapula. From this position, bum back, head down. Notice your arms going in between your biceps, and then bum up and back. Here's downward facing dog. A bit more challenging transition. And then again, bear pose, knees down, sit up. There's that little sequence. One more, and then we'll flow them all together. Such fun today. Your hands forwards. Here we are in tabletop. Protract through the scapula, strong arms. Even you're trying to externally rotate your shoulders here. One leg back, other leg back. There's plank pose. Now, how the heck do you get from here to downward dog? It's challenging, isn't it? I like to walk my feet in just a little bit. Let your arms go long. You're pressing your hands away from you. Your scapular elevating now, and there's downward dog. So notice we'll come forwards again, plank, and then letting yourself push away, knees nicely bent. There's downward dog to exit, plank, knees down, sit up. There we go. Are you ready to try it all mushed together? Let's give it one round. So starting from tabletop, hands nice and bright. Let your bum move back, chest down, arms reach strongly forwards. Maybe you walk your hands forwards a little bit. There's puppy dog. Tuck your toes, up, back, downward dog. Knees back down to the ground. Pause. Hover your knees. Push bum back and up. Downward dog. Nice. Come back to bear pose. Bring the weight forward. Step your legs further away from you. And here, push back. Let those scapula elevate. There is downward dog from plank. Nicely done. Come down to your knees and just shake it off a little bit. A few times, back and forwards and back. Let's give you a little bit of a break now. So we'll move through some releases for your shoulders now and getting into our final closing practices. Come to a reclining position with your arms in cactus arms. So lie down, legs together, gaze to the right and left cheek on the mat. This is going to feel nice for your shoulders. Your elbows about the same height as your shoulders. And if you want to play a little bit, you could try sending your arms straight out
either directions, palms face the floor. But you decide bent arms or straight arms, whichever feels juiciest to you. Try to find a good sense of stretch through the shoulders, the neck, upper back. Take several breaths there. Notice it's working your neck as well. And then lift your head and put your right cheek on the mat, look to the left. And this will dissipate tension through the other side. Again, arms could be out wide or arms could be bent, whatever suits you best. And just when you thought you were going to get a rest, do a little bit more. Put your chin on the mat, keep your arms bent this time, zip your legs together, and then lift your feet off the ground, knees off the ground, lift your torso and your hands off the ground. Nice. Send your hands forwards, nice and long, superhero pose. And then as you exhale, elbows to your ribs as you lift up even higher. Send your hands forwards long and bring them in strong. One more time. Nice and long, reach and stretch. And exhale, bring it in. Nice. Hands down, up to your hands and knees nice and wide. Child's pose at the back of your mat. Let your hands creep forwards, scapula elevate as your head drops down, and use this again as a bit of traction for your scapula, releasing tension through the shoulders. Don't know about you, but that feels nice to me. Trying to get lots of distance between your fingertips and your bum will help to give us that final stretch through the muscles that we've been working. Nice. And then slowly, slowly, just begin to sit up. And as you come to your seat, we'll turn around and lie down on our back. Or no, we won't. We'll stay seated. I apologize. I just want to do one more thing. I told you to grab a strap. It's like, when's he going to use the strap? Now. So take your strap, whatever it is, make it nice and long. So your arms out about 45 degrees. A final release for your shoulders here. Take the strap, start to take it back behind you. You're trying to pull it apart, take it further back, wider if you need, but keep lots of tension until the strap touches your low back. Bring it up, over, slowly, still pulling it apart, touch your belly. Up, slowly, pulling, nice and strong through the shoulders, back, reach it back, and back down. Again, up, over, and then the front. And then we'll go up and back, just about 6 inches behind your head. Start to pull and pull and pull. Feel the muscles, feel the quivering, the shaking happening. Pull, and then all the way down and back up again. Shorten the strap a little bit, so about shoulder width apart. And here, just a little release. Pull with one arm, other arm bends, pull. So side to side. This is called flossing. We're flossing the shoulders at the end here with a little bit of movement. A few times side to side. And then one more. This is called cow face arms. We'll take your right arm up. Maybe you can't see it. Left hand behind you. But create lots of distance. I think forwards is probably fine here. Lots of distance between the hands. We're not trying to get them together. Let the top hand win as you pull the left hand up behind you. And then bottom hand wins as you pull the top hand down. So up and down, flossing on the back a few times. And then switch sides. So
draping it over your left shoulder, left hand at the top. Grab with the right hand and then up and down a few times. For me, my right shoulder, not particularly happy these days, so lingering into a bit of muscular embrace of the contraction if that feels nice for you. Just a few times. Oh, yeah. And then again, release the strap, shake it out, and now we'll lie down on our backs. Well done. Lots of work for your poor old shoulders. Hopefully they appreciate it today. And lie down on your back, knees a little bit bent, and let your knees just drop together. Nice. Take a few breaths here on your back. Let your upper back really soften and melt across the mat. And then a couple of pulsing bridge poses. This will work the shoulders just a little bit. It's more about your core and your hips. Walk your feet in until you can just touch your heels with your fingertips. And keep your feet about hip width apart. If you got a block, you could wedge it between your knees. And then as you inhale, press with your feet, lift your tail, but also lift your arms up into what's called flexion. Push with your feet. Let the backs of your hands touch the ground overhead. And then slowly undulate your spine. Bring your hands all the way back down beside your bum. As your bum touches down, your hands touch down. A couple times like that. Inhale, really extend through the spine, reach to the hands, stretch, and exhale, unwind. And one last time, inhale, press, reach, stretch, and exhale, unwind. Nice. Draw your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a hug, squeeze. A couple of knee circles, holding on to each knee, drawing circles with the knees. And the other way. And then we'll drop your feet back down to the mat again. Feet together. Shift your hips a little bit to the left. Drop your knees to the right. You might hold your knees down with your right hand and then send your left hand out to the side. Look to the left. A final twist for your spine and a gentle integration of the effects of your practice. Letting yourself breathe calmly, letting your shoulders relax yet again. Just a few breaths. Soften, soften, soften. Meeting tension with an exhale wherever you see it. And then slowly unwind back to neutral. Neutralize your pelvic positioning. Shift your hips a little to the right. Knees go left. Boom. Maybe hold them down. Extend your right arm, gaze to the right. And take a few breaths there. Again, accentuate your exhale breathing. Soften into anything that seems tight. Use that exhale to dissipate tension. Nice. That feels nice through my hip here. No, we didn't do much hip stuff today. And we could probably do another episode on the functioning of your hips and the legs, the knees, which we'll do next time. Slowly unwind onto your back again. And one more final practice, both arms, both legs up. Rotate your wrists and ankles nice and slowly, big circles one way, and slowly and big the other way. And then spread your fingers and toes and squeeze your fingers and toes. Spread, squeeze, spread,
squeeze. Maybe you can spread, squeeze, and twirl at the same time. And then shake your wrists, shake your ankles, let it all go. Shake, 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 shake. And then hands down, legs down, big inhale. And a long sigh. Sinking into Savasana. Now, generally in Savasana, we're trying to get lots of distance between the back of your head and your tailbone. So you might shuffle a little bit to get more length through your spine. Your feet flop open. Usually your hands, palms are face up, letting your shoulders roll away from you. And then sink into stillness, simply watching your breath rise and fall. On every exhale, try to soften a little bit more wherever you notice kind of a gripping sensation, softening, melting into the mat. And as you rest here in Savasana, notice how you feel now. How are you feeling mentally, physically, emotionally? Where are you now? I know that was quite a stimulating practice, lots of information. Trying to find the quietude, that inner place for you. And then simply bringing that to the fore, bringing you out as you go about the rest of your day today. Let's take a shared breath to mark the end of our practice. A nice big inhale and a long sigh. And thank you so much, everyone, for sharing this space, for sharing your practice, your time with me and everyone else. So lovely to have you here. Wishing you a beautiful day ahead of you. Namaste. I'll remain online to collect any comments or questions, and we can have a little discussion about what the heck that was all about. Thank you, Beatrice. Really appreciate the support. So, thank you, Blake. Appreciate that. So, this practice today was, I would call it more of a yoga mobility practice. There really wasn't any qigong flavor to the practice today. The reason for that is that this weekend I'm off to offer a yoga conditioning, yoga mobility workshop out in Tofino. So I just kind of wanted to practice some of the ideas that I'm going to be offering in that workshop. You got it for free. um, and appreciate any feedback you might have. That would be helpful for me as I go about the rest of my weekend. As usual, these practices are offered, these practices are offered for free, but also by dana. So dana means generosity. So if you do feel some kind of value or benefits been received by yourself and you can afford it, your donations certainly are appreciated and support me and what I offer. Alma, I'm glad you enjoyed that. There was a lot of information that I was trying to convey, and I hope that at least some of that landed. Alicia, I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Yeah, I did record this one. My intent is to put a lot of these up online as we go through different sort of mini workshops. I'll record them and put them up so you can watch them again at a later date. First part reminded me of my RMT training. Yeah, well, exactly. So there was a lot of, yeah, anatomy
there, right? So, or what do you call biomechanics? How would you adjust for arthritis in the thumb wrist joint in plank? That's a good question. So firstly, yeah, my intention, registered massage therapy was RMT. So the first thing on arthritis is whether or not you're working with a professional like a physiotherapist or some kind of allopathic doctor, and taking their lead would be the first thing I would say. I was offering these from the position of not really working with any injuries. Glad to hear that, Nicole. So we want to, I would say, if you've got some kind of restriction in your ability to flex the wrist, that we need to adjust the pose to accommodate your wrist rather than trying to force yourself to fit some ideal that you can't get to. So usually what we would do is we'd offer some kind of support underneath the wrist. So you could put like a towel or some kind of slight lift underneath your wrist so we don't have such a severe angle. Would be kind of how I would suggest starting. So change the pose to meet your body rather than trying to change your body to meet the pose. A lot of what I'm seeing as I practice in live sessions is a lot of compensating, people trying to achieve a certain ideal of what they think their body's supposed to look like, when in fact we need to change the pose to meet your body, not the other way around. We can progress your body towards that shape, but that takes time. Strengthening and all of these different mobilization practices will eventually get you to that place, maybe, depending on the state of your arthritis. So I don't know if that helps, Alicia. Yeah, get some support for the wrist. Don't try to hurt yourself. Yeah, pain is pointless in this process. It's a sign that it's not working. Yeah, so I could go on yammering all day long. I really appreciate you all being here today. We had 64 people practicing together, so feel all the energy from those people supporting you as you go about the rest of your day. They were all there doing the same thing as you, so really, really lovely to have you all there. Next week, normally I offer these practices on Tuesdays. Next week I will be in transit. Thanks, Jess. I'll be in transit back from Tofino to Victoria. So I'm probably going to put a class up on next Wednesday, and then I'll return to the Tuesday cycle. So look for that class coming at you next week. And otherwise, I, again, wish you a really beautiful day and look forward to seeing you again sometime. Big love, everyone. Take care.